Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I trust everyone is enjoying the wrapping up of a fulfilling holiday season, whatever holiday that you celebrate. I want to welcome everybody to our service this morning. Let's get started with our two opening community songs. Here we go.
Up above my head, I can use it, yeah. Up above my head, I can use it, yeah. Up above my head, I can use it, yeah. I really do believe there's a heaven somewhere. Up above my head, I can use it, yeah. Up above my head, I can use it, yeah. But my head, I need it, yeah. I really do believe there's joy we share. All around this room, there's music we can share. All around this room, there's music we can share. All around this room, there's music we can share. I really do believe there's heaven right here. All around my heart, there's music right there. All around my heart, there's music right there. All around my heart, there's music right there. I really do believe there's music everywhere. Yeah! The joy of God is joy in me, and resting in the joy of God. I know that all is well. The love of God is love in me, and resting in the love of God. I know that all is well. The breath of God. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well. I know that all is well. I know that all is well.
Toota, toota, toota. La, 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 la. Good morning. My name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am so honored to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. I want to welcome everyone who is joining us virtually by whatever platform you are joining us on. We have folks on Zoom, we have folks on Facebook Live, and we have folks on YouTube Live. And so I want to, if you are a guest this morning, know that you are so incredibly welcome here. I also want to welcome all of our regulars. I trust that you are well and that again, someday soon, we will see one another in the same space. And until then, I am so infinitely grateful for this technology that allows us to remain in the community. So let me remind us of who we are and share with our guests this morning who we are here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirit, awaken our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, to one another, and the world. We give generously of our time, talents, and treasures as a way of expanding our experience. And we shamelessly, on purpose, promote our community and our teachings. And so one of the ways that you can help with that this morning is by sharing this live stream on whatever social media platform you use, and it simply makes this available to anyone and everyone that is called to make themselves available to it. So one of the things that we do every Sunday morning to anchor in a practice of inclusion is our inclusion candlelighting ritual. And we light these candles to celebrate the unity of all people, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the ways of primal spirituality. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way, the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of spiritual principles of love and law. We light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, honoring and affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. And so I invite you, right where you are, to lift your voice join in our next community song. Here we go. So this is our time to do our announcements, and I've started doing things a little bit differently. You'll just see the announcement slides and you'll hear my voice in the background. That way you have better access to the information that's actually on the slides as you're hearing it. So if you want to take a screenshot, you can do that so you have the information. So here we go with our announcements. So while there is definitely hope on the horizon, we are remaining virtual for the time being out of an abundance of caution, out of a respect for science, and listening to the divine intelligence within us that guides us exactly how best to navigate all of this. That said, we have lots of things going on to keep you connected. All you have to do is show up and avail yourself of the offerings. And if there's not an offering here that appeals to you, please communicate and let me know what does work for you, and I will do my absolute best to create that. Our ongoing offering of daily morning meditation and prayer occurs every Monday through Saturday morning from 8 to 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Reverend Sarah Nichols does the Monday meditation, and I do them Tuesday through Saturday. So you are invited to join us for spiritual practice on Zoom, Facebook, or YouTube. Deborah and I invite you to join us every morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Time through Friday, January 1st, as we celebrate Kwanzaa 2020 in our home. You can join us virtually through the same links that you use on Sunday morning on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. If you're ready to do a deep dive into visioning, to become aware of what Spirit wants to express as you in this next coming year of 2021, then I invite you to join me Saturday, January 2nd, 2021, from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. noon Pacific Time on Zoom for a vision board workshop. Now, admittedly, this will be different than previous vision board workshops when we're all in the same room. And so what do you need to bring for this one? You need to bring your open heart, something to take notes on about your visioning, old magazines, cards, calendars, etc., some poster boards, scissors, and a glue stick to get you started. This is being offered on a love offering basis. So join us. We will do the visioning part. We will begin making our vision boards, and then we will come back together to share them. Hope you'll join me. If you're interested in participating in an ongoing discussion group about how to actually put these principles into teaching to actualize the wholeness that already exists as you, join us every Tuesday from 4:30 to 6:30. We start back up January 5th. This is offered on a love offering basis. The link is right there in the announcement. Hope to see you there. It's not too late to return your annual giving pledge for 2021. So I know some of you were still working on figuring out what your pledge was going to be, and I certainly honor that process. I am aware that a couple of you sent an email requesting another one be sent to a different address. I will send those out this afternoon. We appreciate your giving. We appreciate you participating in the spiritual practice of intentional giving. It uplifts you, and it gives us a baseline from which to plan so that we run the center in integrity with the giving. So thank you for getting those back to us. This is the last week to get your Giving Tree Pledge funds in. I will process everything that comes in or is pledged by December 31st at midnight. And then next Sunday, I will open the envelope and we will see how we did. Thanks for your giving. So this is our time of inward shift. And so I invite you, right where you are, to minimize the distractions in your space. I do want to say, if you're driving, listening to this service, that you not engage in meditation while you're driving, and if you want to participate in the meditation part, that you pull over where you can safely do that. And for those of you that are safely in your home, I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to simply allow yourself to soften your gaze, to even close your eyes if you choose. The meditation does contain movement of water and clouds, and so sometimes it's meditative to simply watch that. It is a contemplative meditation, so you get to listen to something as well. And after the meditation is complete, our practitioner this morning, Deborah Ellis, will bring us out of the meditation with our opening spiritual mind treatment, also known as affirmative prayer. And then she will lead us in reading our weekly affirmation. Enjoy. Now it's time to leave the external world to go within, to a state of deep inner stillness. Feel yourself relaxing into a deep state of stillness. All is still and silent within you. You feel a sense of expansion. You feel timeless, vast, empty, relaxed. I Am Worth Loving. From Heart Thoughts by Louise Hay. At least 3 times a day, I will stand with my arms wide open and say, I am willing to let love in. It is safe to let love in. I am worth loving. I don't have to earn love any more than I have to earn the right to breathe. I have a right to breathe because I exist. I have a right to be loved because I exist. That is all I need to know. I am worthy of my own love. I no longer allow my parents' or society's opinions or popular prejudices make me think that I am not good enough. The reality of my own being is that I am lovable. I accept this, and I know this. When I really do, I will find that people treat me as a lovable person. Today, I will treat me as a lovable person.
breathing a little bit deeper, recognizing that there is a luminous love, a light that interconnects, intersects, weaves itself through and as all of life, all of creation, all that is seen and all that is unseen. It is that mighty, mighty source of joy and peace and perfection, wholeness. It is knowing itself exquisitely, completely, as all of life, all that is seen and all that is unseen. Its nature is forever giving, forever knowing. It is all power. It is all powerful. It is the beat of my very heart. I speak a word of truth and blessing for this time together in spiritual community, claiming and affirming that all is expanding and unfolding and evolving into this new time that we are living in. This new time that we are creatively expressing as this one power and presence. And I call this power and presence this morning Spirit. Oh, that intelligence that knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. I'm recognizing that all needs are met in this one. That there is a perfect reveling in this, breathing in this, expressing as this one power and mighty, mighty source. I speak a blessing for this time in spiritual community, claiming a deeper expression, a deeper expansion of living as this one, as each individualized expression of it moves and has its way in and through all that is. So filled with joy this morning to know this truth and to know that there is such goodness bubbling everywhere, expanding, expressing and exploding into every place it finds itself. So I'm so thankful for this, and even more than I could speak this morning. So grateful for this spiritual community, grateful for all the loving hearts and hands that express and give as this one to Sierra Center for Spiritual Living and beyond. So I simply just release and allow it to be so, and I anchor it by saying, and so it is. Good morning, beloveds. So glad you're here this day. Wherever you're live streaming from, tuning in, wherever you might be, just know that you are welcome here and that we are so glad that you're here this day. So my name is Deborah Ellis, and I have the privilege of being one of the licensed practitioners here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. And what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to read our affirmation through once, and then we'll read it through together. I align with the power, the presence, and authority of divine truth within me. I live the unrestrained magic of life. So let's read it together. I align with the power, presence, and authority of divine truth within me. I live the unrestrained magic of life. And so it is. Welcome, welcome.
You might slip, you might slide, you might stumble and fall by the roadside. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down. Remember when walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. Walk with the rich, walk with the poor. Learn from everyone, that's what life is for. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down. Remember we're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. Well, some say yes, some say no. Some like to wait and see which way the wind blows. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down. Remember we're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. Yeah, go ahead. I might say things sound strange to you. I might say peace is possible because I believe it's true. Don't ever let nobody drag your spirit down. Remember we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around. I think we need another guitar. You might slip, you might slide, you might stumble and fall by the roadside. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down. Remember we're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. That's it. Remember we're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around.
Take a breath with me. So this morning we conclude our month-long look at celebrating divine truth. We looked at welcoming the shadow. We looked at preparing the way. Last week we talked about cultivating the light. And this morning we are looking at making magic. Life is magical, isn't it? I find it magical that I am standing here and you are there, and yet we are connected by this magical thing called technology. And technology at many levels. Technology as a camera. Technology as this tiny little flat card that records everything. Technology that transfers data from one device to another and then somehow sends it through this invisible network of numbers and brings it to your home through another device. That's pretty magical. I find it magical that my glasses change color depending on how much light is in the room. And these particular glasses react to sunlight. They also react to light in the physical room other than sunlight. And that's pretty magical if you think about it. There is just so much magic in the world. And as I was preparing this talk, I was trying to figure out how I could actually do some magic. Only that is not a gift that I came here with. And it's not, the art of illusion is not one that I have spent time learning and practicing. And so as much as I want to do a magic trick for you this morning, I don't have one. But what I do have is a profound recognition and experience of the magic of life. Now, if we welcome our shadow side, which is nothing more than blocked light, if we prepare the way to experience the magic of life, if we cultivate the soil of our mind to grow the light that we're made of, I am quite certain that we can find and celebrate the magic in every and any situation. Finding magic in the ordinary. Because so much of life has lost its magic for us because it has become ordinary. And perhaps one of the greatest gifts of this phenomenal year of 2020 is shattering the ordinary, is cultivating, breaking up the soil of the ordinary, if you will, to open us to a greater experience of the magic in the ordinary. Now, I know many of us have just experienced what may be the weirdest or most challenging, and for some of us, a painful holiday season. Can we, will we find the magic in the ordinary and in the extraordinary? Will we allow ourselves to feel what we feel and then go underneath that to what greater is there in this experience for us? Can we imagine an experience beyond the ordinary? I've been to a couple of magic shows, and I've watched even more of them on TV. My favorite these days in terms of that is the Penn and Teller show, where magicians work really hard to fool Penn and Teller. And it's all about illusion. It's all about creating an illusion that allows people to see and experience something that is beyond what's really there. I think that's what's available to us in the ordinary, is to see beyond what's actually there. And the way illusion works, as I understand it from watching this Penn and Teller show, is that magicians, illusion artists, if you will, are really well versed at capturing our attention with the ordinary. Their movements, all of the things they're doing with their hands and with their talk, is they capture our attention so that we don't see what creates the illusion that we experience as magic. Perhaps that's how law works. Because our role in the creative process is to imagine, is to use creation. Thomas Troward, who, depending on which source you read, influenced anywhere from 25 to 75% of our teachings, said that we create nothing, that we as human beings are divine distributors of creation. And that works for me, because I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but I got a pretty healthy ego that can very quickly get attached to this idea that the human me has power that I don't actually have. And it's interesting because that very idea that I have the power has been my greatest restriction. And I'm imagining that's true for you as well. Because the infinite intelligence, infinite abundance, has way more resources than I, as a human, have. And so, within me, the magic of creation is that within each one of us is the very soul, the very activity of creation itself. Because we're made out of it. And so when we catch an idea and we hold that idea in consciousness, it moves that idea into the creative activity of law. And I often envision law as this infinite factory, if you will, where all of the parts and all of the pieces and all of the materials that are possibly needed to create, to manufacture anything and everything in form are right there at creation's disposal. And empowered by infinite intelligence, it knows exactly how to assemble and the timing of the assembly and the production timeline that I don't know as a human being. Because I'm operated in limitation in my human form. But within me is unlimited power and unlimited authority, the very magic of creation. And so when we just do our part in consciousness, in awareness, in thought, in belief, and then let go of the control, magic happens. Things get created. Experiences get created. And it gets created in ways that we couldn't even really imagine if we tried. I'm remembering when we lived back in Santa Rosa. It was during the time when all of the housing loans, not all of them, but many of the housing loans were constructed out of, let's say, less than integrity. And we happened to have our home financed by one of those loans. Long story short, after much prayer and consideration, we decided to file bankruptcy as a solution in this physical realm, and to continue as best we could to hold on to our house. And holding on to that became a source of discontent. Not because of the physical structure, but we had a pot farm on one side and a loud racist behind us who had no problem expressing his racism. And so living there became really uncomfortable. And so we continued to do our daily spiritual practice and our prayer work. And all of a sudden, things began to shift in a way that there is no way I could have ever imagined or created this. I got a phone call asking me to sign a piece of paper. My best recollection, it was called a reaffirmation of loan. And I had no idea what that was. And so I was asking, well, what is that? And the person wasn't forthcoming with any information, which just threw up all kinds of flags. And so I simply said, send me something in writing so that I can look at it and I'll get back to you. Well, that didn't happen. And every week for about 2 months, I got this phone call. And every week, I had the same response. Send me something in writing. I'll take a look at it. I'll get back to you. Well, one day, the person on the other end of the phone succumbed to their frustration and articulated, look, if you don't sign this document, we cannot hold you legally accountable for this loan. Bing! It was like the heavens opened and angels sang. Now, while all that was happening, we had a family member in Sacramento who was planning to remodel their home, convert their garage into an apartment for themselves, and rent out their home. We had no knowledge of this whatsoever. And so in the same week that we get this information about our loan, our relative calls and says, this is what I'm doing with my house. If you guys have any interest in relocating, I would love for you to come live here, and we'll do it at a reduced rent while everything is happening until you get settled. And so that's how we got from Santa Rosa to Sacramento. There's no way that in my human process I could have put all that together. And so I invite you to take a look at your own lives. How have things unfolded? Where if you're being really honest with yourself, it's quite magical that you couldn't have imagined it if you tried. Because that is what is happening in the unfolding of creation all the time. There is never a moment where creation stops unfolding. And the more we can lean into the magic that is happening all around us, within us, as us, the more of it we get to participate in. And I think for me, that might be the most magical thing. That it's just here. This presence that I can't see. This love that I can't see. I see the evidence of it. I feel its presence, but I can't actually see it. It's quite magical. This, whatever it is, that creates how many snowflakes every year? And no two of them are alike. Oh my God, that's magical. It's quite magical that our own physiology starts as a single cell, replicates itself, and then at some magical point knows to differentiate and become all of the different parts of our body. Magic. Life is magical. And so the invitation this morning is to find the magic, to allow yourself the whole experience of being fully human and fully spiritual, and the magic of that. There's a quote in the book, The Magic of the Soul, by Patrick Harbula. It must be emphasized that the goal is not to escape the pain or any emotion. Even though our experience of pain may be diminished significantly, we can go into the pain and experience the magic there, giving up our resistance, looking for the growth, and appreciating the wonder in every experience of life. And so I invite you this morning, instead of focusing on something that might happen in 2021, to be fully present with the year 2020, to find the magic of this year and everything that it has brought us. I know one of the most magical things for me has been this experience of feeling so deeply and profoundly connected to you through a little dot on a camera. I have experienced the magic of connection beyond the physical realm. And honestly, I am so grateful. Yes, I miss every one of you profoundly. Yes, it is still very weird to be in this room, in our sanctuary, without you. in physical form. But rest assured, you are very much present with me. Very much. And that, beloveds, is magic. Let's take this into prayer. Recognizing in this moment the one, the invisible, the infinite, the ever-present magic of life. This one substance that creates out of itself in a multiplicity of forms of itself, never separate from itself. Magical. Magical. This one activity of creation that makes itself visible in form, yet surrounds its form with its invisibility. Magical. To know, to feel, to sense, to experience that I am simultaneously that in form and yet fully human. Magical. To know, to experience the oneness that I am while I have and experience an individualized journey. Never separate. Magical. So I speak my word. The word of the infinite. The essence of me speaking itself into creation, into reality, into being made real in this realm. Claiming and affirming that the experience of magic in the ordinary becomes the ordinary. That experiencing magic becomes the ordinary way of life. That no matter what is happening in this earthly realm, that it is magical and glorious and celebrated by all. And that as each of us holds in consciousness the celebration of the magic for life itself, more of that creates and unfolds. And gratitude is the only response. Grateful, grateful at that childlike place of wonder and magic of this thing called life. So I simply rest in this gratitude, allowing it to permeate every cell of my physical being with the celebration of itself. I let go, knowing that there is nothing for my humanness to control. That I can simply let go and free fall into that invisible wonder. That I can live in that state of awe of the magic that life is. I let go and simply enjoy the show as I anchor this word of the infinite by saying, Amen. Shalom. Aho. Ashe. And so it is. We made it. So take a breath with me. As we shift into our time of intentional giving, And if you were here in person, this is the time we would be passing the offering basket. And so since I'm here and you're there, this is the time where I tell you how you can still give. So you can go to our website, www.sierracenter.org. Across the top to the Donate tab, click on that, and it will take you to all of the ways that you can give online. You can also give by mailing your contribution to Sierra Center for Spiritual Living, P.O. Box 2714, Grass Valley, California, 95945. So let's read our intentional giving affirmation together. I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you for your giving. And so as we close out our service this morning, I want to give you a couple of reminders. One is that this is the last week to send in your end of the year additional gift for our Sierra Center giving tree to make up the deficit that we're running, because we made a commitment to operate within a balanced budget. There is a number at the top of the tree, and honestly, I don't even remember what number I wrote down 5 weeks ago, but it's up there, and I am knowing that the abundance of creation is exceeding that number, which will put us in really great shape as we end the year. So the ways that you can send those is you can mail those to P.O. Box 2714, Grass Valley, California, 95945. Please put on the envelope that it is for the Sierra CSL Giving Tree, so I know where to attribute that contribution. You can also make a contribution through our online donation and just use the write a note function to let us know that it is for the Giving Tree. Okay. Finally, but most importantly, know that you are not alone in anything that you are walking through. And so if you are in need of or desiring prayer, reach out. Myself, Rev Lanny, Rev Madeline, and our practitioners are available to you. You can access that information through our website, www.sierracenter.org. You can also call and leave a message, or you can shoot me an email. You can also make a prayer request through the website, and I will send that out to the other ministers and our practitioners. So thank you for being with us. This is our last closing song this year. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. Together we'll stand, the fire will fall. Come on, people, let's get on and work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand, the light is for us, man. until Sunday